Well, hey, and hello there. Thank you so much for joining me again. I'm so glad I was able to find you again on the internet. If this is your first time here, I'm Dr. Chung, your friendly proctologist, and I welcome you to this space. Of course, the reason why you're at this video is not because you're having such an awesome day or you're looking for some practical jokes or something funny to watch. It's because your life is suffering, you've got some symptoms going on, and let me tell you, the fact that you're clicking on videos and doing research is your journey. It's the beginning steps to getting better. So congratulate yourself on doing that. You gotta give yourself props for looking up this super embarrassing information. But the point of my channel is to make sure you get some information to help at least figure out by yourself what's going on with me. And what do I do to start helping myself before I can see a specialist perhaps in my area? Today, I want to focus on physical therapy. I've been lifting up physical therapy above my head and saying this is the cure for conditions like anal spasm, right? And levator floor spasm, proctalgia fugax, all of those things. I've been telling you that you got to do it. But Dr. Chung, how do I know if I have a good physical therapist? How do I know what they should be working with me? And what should I be doing when this physical therapy is going on? And then that's why I made this video, to help you guide on that. So let's get to it. So the first thing on my list is they should be working on muscle groups outside of the pelvis, like your core, like your glutes, maybe even your shoulders or your upper back. And you're thinking, Dr. Chung, what the heck does that have to do with me pooping or my butthole? And I'll tell you, the pelvic floor interacts with the hip muscles. And a lot of times when you're straining your pelvic floor and your anus, it puts an extra toll on your hip muscles and core to try and compensate for these imbalances of your muscles in there. And again, like I said, the pelvic floor is an unconscious group of muscles here. And it's just not even that. There's the obturator muscles, a whole lot of little mini muscles that we need to harness and get control of. And so I believe that is why we should be doing that. Now your upper back and your shoulders maybe even, yeah, I think posture also can have many things to do it, but also getting your body in general to be moving and everything being in concert and balance is very important. Another thing is pelvic floor massages, okay, or an exercise. There's a lot of different exercises that recruit your pelvic floor. You can even do massages from your belly, down below where your pubic bone is and get massage of your pelvic floor. Even down below where your gluteus muscles are can also get pressure and stretch on those pelvic floor muscles. Let me take a break from the list for just a second, and I want to introduce you to a possible solution for your anal spasm pain. But not just that, for your hemorrhoids, anal fissure, and your bottom end itching. This video has been brought to you by Pranicura, and these guys have brought us a brilliant product. It's a cream that you can apply multiple times a day, and it's got that zinc-based cream so that it's protective, allow the skin to heal underneath, but also that menthol to cool and distract us from the pain. I personally use this for hemorrhoids myself, or that itching, because that cool menthol really takes that little prickly sensation away. And whenever I have my flares, this guy is here to save me. It's a very cool melon type of, I don't know if you can see that, melon type of color there, and it's brought so many smiles to my worst days. If you want to grab a bottle of this is only found at their website at www.pranicura.com. Again, www.pranicura.com. Try out that 30-day challenge. Check out that video to know what it's all about. Let's get back to the video. Number 3, they should be teaching you strategies or exercises for relaxation. And I'm not just talking about in your head relaxation, but relaxation that reaches deep to the core, inside, to get those unconscious muscles like the pelvic floor and your sphincter, anal sphincter muscles, okay? The reason why the sitz bath works, that hot showers work, is because your muscles are finally relaxing. When they're tensed up and squeezing, that's when you feel the discomfort and the pain and the fullness, etc. But when you can relax them, and you can do that with a simple exercise instead of having to go to the bathtub, clean up, fill up, do all those things, you can do things immediately. And that's the point of these exercises. Number 4, we want to be concentrating and focusing on that internal sphincter muscle, okay? And how we do that, we do a lot of stretching, we do a lot of massaging, and guess what? We've got to use, in my opinion, your finger. Sure, you can use dilators to stretch out the muscle, but dilators don't give you any feedback. It doesn't tell you what's going on. It doesn't tell you how tight things are. It doesn't tell you if you're improving or not, or whether you're even relaxing at all. It's very tough to tell. With the finger, we'll be able to do it much more gently. The 5th thing that I recommend you work with your therapist is something called feedback therapy. This is a concept where you get information indirectly from, let's say, your finger, the greatest sensor on earth, to tell you about what your internal sphincter muscle is doing, okay? And usually the therapist will put their finger, his or her finger, inside your bottom end and tell you, are you relaxed or not? When they tell you you're relaxed, that's where the feedback comes in. Because, for example, if you're doing a Kegel exercise, they'll ask you, okay, go ahead and let's do the squeezing part of this exercise. So you start squeezing your muscle and the therapist will tell you, good, great, you're doing a great job. Now let's hold that contraction. And you'll hold it, you try to do your best you can. And the therapist again can tell you, you're doing it well. Or, oh, it's spasming, it's kind of freaking out. Try and settle things down, try and keep it consistent. And again, that's giving you information to your head through their finger, their sensor. And of course, with the relaxation, they'll say, okay, now let's calm the muscles down, let's relax. And you may not be able to do it. The therapist may say, oh, you're not doing anything at all, it's spasming, it is not relaxing at all. Then they may say, okay, let's do a relaxation exercise here, let us try and get some of that control. And they'll tell you, are you doing it? Are you not? Or say, oh, you just did it for a second there, great job, let's try and get that and harness that back, okay? And I think this is the core of feedback therapy, to try and get things to get that control, that roadmap, that link between your brain and your bottom end, which none of us are born with. Number 6 is we want to learn how to poop again. There are so many strategies like the squatty potty, positioning, posturing, breathing, so many things to pooping that we take for granted. And when we have anal spasm, we have to adapt to our anus. The anus does not want to open, it wants to shut down like a scared 2-year-old child. So we really have to try and get it to break its old habits. It's made these adaptations, developed these behaviors, and we need to tell it, no, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it inefficiently. There is nothing to fear anymore. Let's do things the right way. So the therapist should be guiding you. When you sit in the toilet, these are the steps you should take. This is how you know you're doing it right. And that way, you practice these things and get all these therapies together and integrate them to have a more successful poop. So with all this therapy going on, right, what are we striving towards? What are the goals? And I have 2 goals for you, okay? The program of the physical therapy you're going through, it shouldn't be just about, oh, I'm going to do 2 sets of 10 Kegel exercises. If I keep doing that, I'm probably going to get better and cure this thing in 2 months. No, I don't think that's quite how I would phrase it. Number 1 goal here is to get voluntary control of that internal sphincter muscle. This is a muscle no one has control of, like I said before, right? We want to develop that neural pathway, which you weren't born with, and be able to command it to tighten, or more importantly, to relax whenever we need it to, right? And the second thing is we want to get perception. We want to know and feel and know, is it relaxed or is it contracted? Because if it is, then I can go back to goal number 1 and make it relaxed or make it contracted, right? These are really important when you're sitting there in flare with the muscles all spasmed out, because you'll feel it and then control it to relax and the pain can get better. When you're on the toilet, you'll feel that you're tight, and then you can relax again, have a more efficient bowel movement and not have to strain and have more pain after the bowel movement is done. I'll tell you another thing is, physical therapists are some of the most gentlest people on earth. Way more gentler than your physician, I guarantee you. And so I would suggest, if there's something new to try, ask them, go ahead and go slowly. Please, would you take it little by little with me? And don't be afraid. Once things get very uncomfortable, you can always stop and try again another day. Another thing here too is I advise you to just call the physical therapy offices around your house, okay? You don't need to necessarily find the top therapist in your area, because I tell people you're probably going to end up switching therapists at some point. When things aren't getting better, when you don't like the therapist, their methods and their uses, if they're not using your fingers, definitely that's not a therapist I recommend. They need to teach you, and they need to use their finger with you in your bottom end. You can always switch to a new one. And trust me, the physical therapist will not be upset with you if you decide to switch. Be very selfish for your own bottom end and your own health, okay? If there's a therapist that's very expensive, won't take your insurance, do you have to see them every week? No, go see them once a month. Maybe go see them once every 2 months, and then see another therapist in the meantime and keep that going. You see what I mean here? Do everything that you feel is going to be beneficial for you. There is no structured program. It's not like if you don't do what they want you to do, your anus is gonna blow up and everything's gonna be a total failure and waste of time. Not at all. And so I hope that this video was helpful for you. And I want to mention Pranicura again, because many people have been using Pranicura with success with this issue with anal spasm. Why? Because of the menthol in this and the cooling and the comfort that this cream gives you. It's a zinc-based ointment that has some good penetration and also good protective layer that lasts a long time, so that you can get some of your day, some of your life back. And I highly recommend you try this if you haven't tried it already for your spasm pain or your anal spasm in general. Go to pranicura.com and get yourself a jar today. You take care. Bye-bye.